when injuries get treated as such. We'll see, any sort of issue there where there might be a head situation, get them off, get them tested. If they're not too bad, they're going to be coming back on anyway. It's a free interchange. No one really loses out. The game doesn't get broken up too much. And we feel like the right sort of thing is happening. The right behaviours are being put back in place.
Yeah, and then as fans, that if a player is clutching their head, well, they're either play acting and therefore they're going to be going off anyway, and it's sort of going to jeopardise their team a bit because, that player's going off and
there's a bit of shuffle around and all that, yeah.
Or, they're genuinely injured and they're going off to get treatment, and either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is shitty to hear that someone was actually genuinely injured and was booed from the minute they went down, and that fans are so quick to go to that. But hopefully the referees and the players will help move us back towards us being able to judge things in a nicer light and more respectful way.
Yeah, it'd be nice to think that there could almost be some sort of statement, before the start of next season. We've assessed this and we've decided that as a whole, players have accepted this responsibility, officials have accepted this responsibility, and this is how we're going forward.
Yeah. And do you know what, as well, one of the things that maybe has helped shift things a little bit is this change in I know the St Helens against Huddersfield game wasn't televised, but the move to basically not let the video referee just choose when it's a penalty for a high shot and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So players that's already a step preventing players from staying down as much. The video referee will only intervene when it's a card situation, which does seem more sensible because, to be honest, things are going to get missed all the time in games of rugby league, from angles of sight, just the fact that it's such a physical game, the fact that a perfectly legal hit can really hurt someone, and so stuff like that. So yeah, okay, so we didn't quite get to rant level there, but it was worth clearing up, so thanks Mark for those comments, and I hope none of us fans travelling to Wembley will have any reason to jeer any of the players for any doubts over whether they're injured or not during that game. I'm sure it'll come up though at the end of that game when it's close. I think we'll have to tolerate something in the last 10 minutes or so from either side.
Yeah, save the jeering for the colour of jersey someone wears.
Okay, that is the feedback section covered off, and a couple of shout outs thrown in there too this week. Do you know what, actually, before we move on, I'm going to cover one other thing early on in this week's show, because I covered it late on in last week. I think, was it last week I had the rant about the Challenge Cup final tickets? Anyway.
Yes, it was, because, yeah.
So I've now received my Challenge Cup final revised tickets, and they actually are not in the end, as I was told they were going to be on the email I received. They're sort of on the sideline towards the end, but they're in the Club Wembley seats, so it's kind of like you're not where you wanted to be on the halfway line, but you're still in decent seats compared to, we're not putting you exactly where you don't want to be. And here's something a little bit nice, because you've had to move through no fault of your own from buying tickets early and that sort of thing. So that's quite good. So I'm in block 203, I think.
They're not the Sterling ones, are they, Mark?
They should not be, no. But I do also have a pair of tickets to give away, which are also Club Wembley tickets, but they are in the sort of end / cornery bit in what would nominally be the Catalan Dragons end, I believe, in block 233. And you know what? There's no quiz, no question, no problems here. All you have to do is meet me at a designated place and time around about an hour and a half to 2 hours before kick-off on Saturday, and if you're listening to the show now, you can have those tickets on a first-come, first-served basis. So please do send a tweet or a DM or something if you want those 2 tickets that are going free to the Challenge Cup final on Saturday, and we'll arrange a time around about 1 o'clock-ish to meet up and hand those tickets over, and someone can have those for free. There you go.
Very nice.
So please do hit me up, and like I say, first come, first served on that basis. If you don't have any, if you want to go but you don't have a friend, maybe 2 people could go, and we could get the SLP families together. But we'll see. But either way, 2 free tickets to the Challenge Cup final. Get in touch if you are wanting those. Okay, that is that section now polished off completely, Sarah, because that is the final thing I wanted to mention. We'll now move on to news from around the world of rugby league. News now, sponsored by RunDom.Run. Every year, Dom does stupid runs in stupid costumes to raise money for Martin House charity, and this year is like no other, because Little Warden will match any donation by the SLP listeners to RunDom.Run. If you just leave in your donation comment hashtag SLP family, and your donation will be matched by our great sponsors, Little Warden. I've been told that I made an error last week. Last week I said that the SLP community had to raise £3,000 for Dom to wear Castleford Tigers boxer shorts to every Leeds Rhinos home game next season. It turns out that that wasn't what the agreement was, and the agreement was that Dom would have a total of £6,000 worth of donations over the course of the year, doing all the different runs he does. So he's doing a half marathon in a couple of weeks. So that's a big one. He's got a few more runs as well over in Disney in Florida to do. I think 3 days of runs on the row. So that's pretty challenging for him. So that's a lot of effort that Dom's going to. So definitely back him. And apparently we're only a couple of £100 short of ensuring that he wears Castleford Tigers underpants to every Leeds Rhinos home game next season to see if they become some awkward lucky charm for him. So basically, get donating, get hashtag SLP family in your donations. So in effect, Dom's company, Little Warden, will have to match that donation, and then we'll be there. We'll get to the promised land. So please do all get on that. That's RunDom.Run, and then more details will be there. Okay. The first news story is Catalan Dragons, Wembley bound, of course. Prop forward Sam Mower has signed a new 2-year contract with the club. The Tongan international joined the club last year and has made nearly 50 appearances for the Super League appearances for them, scoring 6 tries since making the move. Sam Mower is a man, is a country, is a former Hull FC player. So you might have something to say about this one, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, his first match for us was away at Leeds, and he was so fat he couldn't bend down to pick up the ball from the ground. But, by the time he was leaving us, everyone was gutted. He had slimmed off. He had improved massively as a player, and he's carried on doing great things for Catalan, hasn't he? Yeah,
he's really forceful and powerful. He scored the clinching try, really, the try that made us all think that, well, now that's that in the semi-final, didn't he? He was very good against Wigan the week before when they rested some of their other frontline forwards, as well was Sam Mower. He is an impressive player. He really came on under Trent Robinson when he went over back home to Australia and played for the Roosters. He went from being a player who, like you say, was kind of nearly there during his time at Hull to being a player who was a top draw frontline prop forward. So well done to him on earning a new deal.
And he just recently have cut out his errors a lot, actually. And penalties. He seems to be giving away less penalties than he was.
Do you know what? You're right. Last year I think he was quite a big offender again as well, but not so much this time around. Yeah, you're totally right, Sarah. Okay, what else has been going on this week?
Okay, so Leeds Rhinos utility back Joel Moon will leave the club at the end of the Super League season. Australian Moon, 30, who is out of contract, has been with the Rhinos since moving from Salford in 2013. The former Brisbane and New Zealand Warriors central standoff is expected to resume his career in the NRL when he returns home. Moon has won 2 Challenge Cup finals, a League Leader Shield and 2 Grand Finals during his 6 seasons at Leeds.
he's a good player. I'm not sure he'll get a regular NRL gig because he's a little bit unpredictable and maybe in attack and defence, and maybe they like someone who might be more consistent. But potentially, he's a mature player. He could bring that more into his game. Back at centre, of course, last weekend and scored a hat trick, which we'll get to in the match reviews. But he's been an exciting player to watch in Super League, and I think everyone, even involved at Leeds, will just wish him well and thank him for the good times.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Do you have any particular Joel Moon memories? He's got that one-handed carry that is pretty unique to him.
To be honest, he's one of those players that doesn't do a lot for me, really. He's a decent player, but he's not somebody. Some players just have that sort of X factor for you, and
star quality, yeah.
Yeah, and you like watching them play, particularly when it's not against you. But Joel Moon isn't that player for me.
I don't think he's ever really involved himself frequently enough in games, and maybe the move to standoff, they were hoping he would use his skills more regularly for the Leeds Rhinos, and it probably hasn't come to pass this year. It did maybe on occasions last year, but that was over a shorter time span, not over expecting him to play there for the whole season. So maybe I see where you're coming from there. I've always thought he was a class. I remember when he first came over and was at Salford, and that Salford team that he was in were a pretty exciting to watch Salford team at the time. I think they had did they have, was it the Salford team maybe that had Luke Patton and Matty Smith and people like that? So
see, that was when I was having children those years before 2013, so my rugby watching wasn't quite so great in those few years.
Fair enough. Okay, well, someone who probably was being born as a child almost around the same time that you are having children that young is young Callum McClelland. Leeds Rhinos have signed Callum McClelland on a 3.5-year contract in a move which sees him switch back to rugby league from rugby union. The 18, I thought he was only 16. The 18-year-old who came from
massively older than my children.
Yeah, I thought he was still high school age. Maybe that was when he went to Scotland. Who came through Castleford's academy, switched codes last November to join Edinburgh. The Pontefract-born halfback, who was also contracted to the Scottish Rugby Union, with whom Leeds have had to agree an undisclosed fee to sign him. He's joined Leeds. Too late to play for the first team this year, but obviously he's going to be a weapon for them going forward. All I know is that. Sorry, I'm a bit gassy. I was drinking my tea whilst you were doing the last news item. Excuse me there. Okay, all I know is this guy was really, really highly rated coming through, and there was a huge overreaction almost to his move away from the sport last year. So the fact that he's come back so swiftly can only be a good thing. I'm sure Castleford fans aren't happy about where he's ended up, though. No,
probably not.
What's the last Leeds news story we've got to cover?
So Leeds prop Mitch Garbutt has been ruled out for the remainder of the season after undergoing knee surgery. The 29-year-old Australian has featured 9 times for Leeds this season, but will miss the Super League qualifiers before returning for pre-season.
I think that's a shame. Garbutt has been great for them, I think. He's been, constantly up there, 140 metres or so a game. Is one of the reasons why they ended up in the bottom 4, I think, that he wasn't able to play more games than he was this year.
Yeah. We were saying, actually, if Leeds failed to stay in Super League, he's a player that won't be looking for a club for very long, I wouldn't have thought.
No, not at all. I think someone's snapping up, I agree. Okay, Toronto winger Liam Kay has been ruled out for the rest of the season. Kay, who's 26, suffered a broken ankle in their 14-0 win over Halifax in round 1 of the qualifiers. The former Lee man had scored 26 tries in 26 appearances for them this season. So what a strike rate that was. What a weapon that they are missing in this qualifiers for them. And a player who probably is like the biggest icon there, having had 2 great seasons, because not many players have managed to have 2 great seasons for the Wolfpack. Do you think the thing with Liam Kay, obviously, if Toronto do get promoted, do you think he will still be at the club? He's kind of been a championship player ever since he moved away from Wakefield really early in his career. Do you think he is a player that will